welcome back to Two Dope Black Doulas. I'm Brittany Jones.
Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle Watson Murray. Welcome. Happy Black History Month.
Yes, happy Black History Month. And so for today's episode, we thought it would be appropriate to talk about DEI and the dismantling of DEI and affirmative action and how that plays a part in a role in our healthcare system and how we receive care, especially for pregnant women, and how all of that plays and affects each other.
Exactly. So, you know, 2025 came in swinging like Mike Tyson in his golden era. Okay,
And
Muhammad
it's
Ali.
only been 31 days into 2025, right? And if you've been under a rock and you haven't been paying
And
attention
God bless
to
you if you have been under a rock. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and you haven't really necessarily been paying attention to what's been going on in the media and politically and all of that. So it started really in back in 2023, I think it was, where 2024, where there was a ruling on affirmative action being illegal to practice in for college campuses. So college campuses weren't able to use, or it was ruled that they aren't able to use race in determining admissions to college, including certain schools like medical school of dentistry, all your schools where people apply to. So behind that came a whole lot of other snowballing effects and people trying to basically break apart the system as far as it goes, giving people, African American people and people of color and minorities, a chance to be able to get in at tables that they typically aren't able to sit in, right? So recently, and earlier in January, we saw that there's been an attack essentially on DEI, and there was a recent plane crash that happened that unfortunately our president of the United States got up in front of the United States and did a press conference and blamed the plane crash on DEI, saying that basically there were unqualified people that were involved in whether they were flying the planes or in charge of the FFA or whatever, but essentially that they were responsible for the plane crash. And it's very frustrating and disheartening to see like the progress that we've made over the last century, essentially, go kind of down in the drain with this thought that Black people aren't smart enough or not, I guess, intelligent enough to have roles in different areas. I mean, I guess that's what he meant by when he was campaigning about Black jobs. Like, I guess
Right.
Black people are supposed to have certain
And
jobs.
right, and let's be clear that affirmative action, DEI, like you mentioned, Brittany, this is for people who are going to not benefit because they just are meeting a quota. These are
Right.
people who have the qualifications and
Absolutely.
are deserving of their seats. Okay,
Absolutely.
let's be clear. The most educated group in America are Black women.
Right.
Okay, so let's be clear. And also, DEI, that people don't know this, guess who benefited the most from DEI? White
It
women.
won't, it won't us.
It wasn't
It
us.
won't us.
And shout out to the other part of the non 55% that voted the other way of white women. But that's just the honest truth, is that this is not just because they have to meet quota of the DEI, and which is not fair.
Right.
Additionally, recently, kind of in the healthcare realm, RFK Jr. is supposed to be, which I'm pretty sure he's going to be confirmed probably by the next week or so. And part of his platform or idea is that Black people shouldn't receive the same vaccines as anyone else because
Right. And
he's
that kind of
moving.
goes into,
He
you
didn't have
know,
an
what
answer, actually. So that was the funny thing.
right. And that kind of, I'm sorry to
No, no,
interrupt
go
you,
ahead.
but that kind of goes into that the issue that we've started to work on and dismantle in healthcare in general of Black people being biologically different than white people.
And we don't feel pain.
It was taught in, school books, whether you're in nursing
Yeah.
school or medical school, that at one point, not, it was taken out, but who knows, it might be back now,
Okay.
where they were actually being taught that Black people didn't have the same nerve endings or could feel pain the same way
Don't
that
feel
white
pain.
people would. And these things affect people's medical, it affects like the doctors, from the doctors making the decisions, right? So they're, learning this and like, okay, well, I have Susie over here and I have Karen over here, and she's Black, so she may not feel the same pain that Karen does. So we're going to give Karen more the pain medicine, and we're not going to give Susie the pain medicine because she can't feel that. Or there was someone posted on social media about lung function and how that has been historically racialized, that Black people have lower lung functioning than white people. So and all of this plays a part in
It's
getting transplants, all of that.
so this is why doulas and just being a Black doula in this space is so important, because we can help our clients advocate for themselves, as well as more than likely help educate others who don't look like us in that space. Like, yes, this is
Absolutely.
important. We need to realize that is debunked. It's been debunked. So the fact that that man, RFK, stated that, and when he was asked this during his confirmation hearing, he literally was just bumbling. He was stuttering. He had no reason. He was just like, they just should use different vaccines. And when he was asked, he didn't have a reason why. So we need to just
Right.
be able to really help advocate and build community as much as possible at this time. And that's why DE&I is important, because you should learn about everyone's history, including Black history, because it's still Black
Right.
History Month, FYI.
Right. And so this is also why concordance with your healthcare providers is important. So when I say concordance, making sure that you resonate with your providers, whether that be, you look like your provider looks like you, or, in some way your provider has been through the same life experiences as you. And so that they can be able to help you navigate those things as well as hiring a team like a doula. I've recently come across clients who are very specific and asking for a doula, and specifically a Black doula, right? So looking for someone who will listen to them when they're saying I'm in
Right.
pain and it's not dismissed, or listening to them, knowing the different factors that might play into their care, because we know certain groups of people in all areas, not just healthcare, but in general, in finances and like access to things, they have been historically
Yeah.
marginalized in that way. So we know that, like, I've been through some life experiences that may resonate in my clients, and I could tell them, hey, this is what you need to look out for, or this is a way
Yeah.
around that. Like, you need to, this is what you need to do. You need to go XYZ. You need to apply for this. You need to,
Yeah.
do this, and this is how
Yeah,
you can
our shared
combat that.
experiences. Well, I've heard so many times, Black people, we are not a monolith, which is true. But we have so many shared experiences across the diaspora. Again, being a Jamaican, first generation Jamaican American. And Brittany, I always like, you're like African American. And my growing up in New York, it's always like, oh, you're not from another island? I'm like, oh. So all of this, but we
Right.
still have that commonality. And to be able to connect with
Right.
our clients is so important and imperative, especially at this time, because you can read in a textbook something that's completely incorrect, as a provider, and then try to put that on, our clients, and we can come together in a mutual setting to say that has been debunked, and this is how we should go about this. She may react this way
Right.
because of the pain, because she is in pain, because she's bringing a whole life into the world, but this is what we're going to do to combat it, and you're going to be okay with that. You have
Right. And
the
then
patient bill of rights always on the back of the door in the hospital. So yeah.
Right, right. And then just thinking about, like, if I'm just thinking about my previous clients, right, and like
Oh my
their
gosh.
experiences and how I was able to like help them advocate for
Exactly.
themselves in spaces that may have been like looking at her and
Right.
judgy or whatever. But like, say you're a single mom with multiple kids, and you're going in to have another child, and your provider may not understand the factors that single moms go through with multiple kids that they're already taking care of. Like, who's going to watch? Like, some of these concerns are not typical concerns that everybody has. Like, who's going to watch my other children while I'm giving
Yeah.
birth? Like, who's going to be taking care of my kids while I'm in labor and in the hospital? And if I have to stay in the hospital longer, who's going to take care of my kids? I may not have that support system that people typically have. So how can I navigate this? How can I
Yeah.
work through this? And that's important. Those things are important and play a factor into your health. You might be stressed right before you give birth, which may cause you to go into early labor. But
Blood
you,
pressure.
right, your blood, all of those things play a part. And having someone on your team being able to understand those things and how they affect you is very, very
It's
important.
imperative at this time more than any time, I think, in our lifetime. I was like,
Amen.
we cannot make this up. So we are very happy. And I feel like this is a beacon of light in what seems like a very dark time, to especially shout out to the 92% of Black women who voted how we voted. Because we tried to warn America, but America didn't want to listen. So
Yes,
we are here as
unfortunately.
two dope Black doulas, literally just trying to build our community within, give you the right resources, give you correct information, just be, again, a beacon of light in this darkness, and making sure you advocate for yourself as much as possible. Please, please, if you can, utilize a doula. If you can, utilize a Black doula or someone who looks like you, because it is important to have that shared experience, to be able to have someone with the knowledge as well in the room with you while you are bringing life into the world during this time of
Yes.
cutting down of DEI and Black doctors not being accepted into many universities and the decline of that as well. But shout out to
Yes.
HBCUs. Okay. Look, I was like,
Yep.
we didn't want to go down this road today, but also we needed to go down the road today.
Right, right. Well, I think that is important, like you mentioned earlier in the episode about
Yeah,
community and pulling together
absolutely.
resources, knowing who are the midwives in my
Yes.
community, who are the doulas in my community, who are the farmers in my
Okay.
community, who are like
Yes.
everything, because that's the farmers is where you're gonna get your fresh produce and eggs and
We are
all of this
we are
stuff, right, to
we are trying to make a
support
farm.
your health.
Nutrition is so important, as we talked about in a previous episode. So, like, shout out, because we do need to build a farm. Brittany and I are going to we're gonna have a farm. So we keep talking about it, like, we're gonna have a farm. So
Yes,
it's important, and
we
I'm glad
are.
you mentioned about having Black midwives, Black doctors, Black doulas. We will be speaking to some Black midwives and some other people that are going to be in the community and already doing the work, especially during this Black History Month, and then followed by Women's History Month. So we have some amazing, amazing guest speakers that will be joining us soon to build on that community and those
Absolutely.
resources that we talked about.
Absolutely. So please, please stay tuned to Two Dope Black Doulas for future episodes. Thank you. And we thank you for joining
Yeah.
us
Take
today.
care, everyone. Take care of yourselves.
Take care. Bye bye.